All right. Hey guys, it's Heather here with Underwater Panther, and I am starting a whole new video series for the Aquarian or INTJ. And so I am not exactly sure what I'm even going to call it yet. But this video will be the introduction to masculine and feminine energy in Aquarian or INTJ. And I'm going to start with, I might call this series Toxic versus Healthy Masculinity and Femininity, something like that. So we are going to dive deep into what masculine and feminine energy is on a foundational level, and then comparing toxic versus healthy expressions of masculine and feminine energy on the ground level, and then we're going to integrate that into the Aquarian or INTJ personality type, breaking the cognitive functions and planetary bodies down individually. And then we will get into relational and examples in the workplace and self and relational. So I've got 13 videos so far scripted out. I spent 9 hours on it. I just finished my last video on my emotional mastery video series, and I am like ecstatic to move on into this video series. I was going to start on Capricorn, but this will be probably the last Aquarian series. I think I've almost been working on Aquarius for 9 months now. So yeah, I do like how I evolved over time, and I think I'm going to do a video series like I did for Aquarian for each personality type, starting with the archetype foundationally and then going into nervous system reset, wealth building, emotional mastery, and then getting into the masculine and feminine within each personality type and how that plays out relationally. So yeah, it's been a heck of a 9 months or so. So I hope you all are enjoying this series and the ebooks. I will certainly be doing ebooks on this series. All right. So this video series, video 1 will be the introduction to masculine and feminine energy in general, and then in Aquarian or INTJ. Video 2, I will break down more in depth on toxic versus healthy masculinity. Video 3, toxic versus healthy femininity. Video 4, integration, balancing masculine and feminine energies. Video 5, applying integration in real life, relationships, work, and self. Video 6, shadow work and Pluto transformation. Video 7, the existential spiral and growth cycles. Video 8, resilience. Video 9, integration in relationships. 10, conflict and communication. Video 11, the love language of Aquarian or INTJs. Video 12, building intimacy. And video 13, shadow work and transformation. I might expand it out. I am not sure yet. We'll see how it goes. All right. Let me make sure this is the very first video. It is not the first video. Is it? Okay, so yeah, I've actually started another channel specifically on masculine and feminine. And so I incorporated the first 3 videos I did on my other channel into this foundational introduction to masculine and feminine. And then tonight I worked on integrating that into all of my other books, combining everything together. All right, so we are building upon everything we've learned thus far in this huge video series for Aquarian or INTJ. All right, so this is the introduction video. The purpose is to lay the foundation, explaining what masculine and feminine energies are, what they are psychologically, astrologically, and archetypally. So we're going to start archetypally and then tie in psychology with astrology. Key points, energies, masculine and feminine are not about gender, but balance. Toxic equals extremes, and healthy equals integration. And so I will preface with saying that we have to literally start in the understanding that each of us individually have masculine and feminine energies within us. And it is in our utmost, I mean, it's a huge life journey to not only self-develop through our ego, understanding our ego through the hero, parent, child, inferior, psychologically, that literally just to work on your hero through to your inferior function takes 35 years at least of integration and understanding in life experiences. Hopefully mentorship, learning, self-learning, etc. That is a huge process on a huge timeline in itself. Okay. And so when we start getting into masculine and feminine energies within ourselves, that's kind of a process after inferior recognition and integration. And so the inferior psychologically is considered the anima or animus. I'm not sure if y'all have gotten into that with Carl Jung. I'm not going to expand on that too much here, but a woman has an anima and a man has an animus. Or is it animus? A woman has an animus and a man has an anima. Anyways, each of us have masculine and feminine energies within us, and we do need to integrate that within ourselves in order to be successful. I mean, that is through relationships, that's through wealth building, and in life in general. So it starts when we integrate our masculine and feminine energies within ourselves. We are processing trauma, we are understanding our triggers, and then we start holding boundaries, understanding how to hold boundaries. We're building up our self-esteem. And we are really, in order to do all that, we have to understand ourselves. Like, who are we? What do I stand for? What are my values? And so once you're getting into masculine and feminine energy integration, you're starting to delve into the subconscious. So you have the ego, subconscious, unconscious, and superego. Our superego is trying to tear down our ego. Eventually, after this video series, I'm actually going to get into shadow integration. I've only covered the hero, parent, child, and inferior cognitive functions, but after this series, noted in my brain, I will get into the nemesis and I can't even remember anymore, nemesis, demon, critic. There's one more. I actually touch on that in my my massive ego book, which I did prior to the emotional mastery ebook. So I have an actual foundational Aquarian or INTJ ego book, and I touch on the shadow functions. So we have 8 cognitive functions, and here I was solely focused on the ego integration. After this, I'm going to get more into the shadow a little bit. I'm not sure how I will expand that out, but that's always been a goal, and I do take in the 4 sides of the mind psychologically into consideration, but I also tie in astrology. So I am looking at astrology. The ego is your sun sign Mercury. Your subconscious is your moon sign. And then your unconscious is like Mars and Saturn, along with some of the outer planets. And your superego is the rising sign. So this is just insane amount of information. I understand that. That's why I'm trying to write books, because it's kind of easier visually to start clicking things in your head. But when we're getting masculine and feminine integration, we are getting into our subconscious. And so that's a good thing because we are happier. That is when we are at our happiest. We are living life purposefully. We are not just running around triggered, not holding boundaries, being pick-me's or basic babes, depending on if you listen to Shira or Mina Afan. So when you start integrating these energies, you are going to start living in purpose. And when you're living in your purpose, holding your boundaries, you are going to start bringing in wealth. You're going to start creating systems to help other people. I mean, whether that's like music or whatever the case may be. For me, it's teaching. So it's extremely important to understand these energies on an individual level, but also relationally, especially romantic relationships. I know Aquarians are INTJs. We have solid boundaries everywhere in our life. Normally, we're introverts. We understand we don't have much energy. Romantic relationships is certainly where we falter. We really trip up. And I'm going to be going through like toxic masculinity and toxic femininity, how to spot those red flags in yourself and others. And so this is going to help a lot with relationships, and it's just so vital. It's so vital for psychological and spiritual evolution, certainly. All right, so have you ever felt like you're living in extremes? Sometimes cold and detached, or other times overwhelmed and emotional. If you're an Aquarius or INTJ, that tug of war is part of your archetype. And here's the secret. It's not about personality flaws. It's about the balance of your masculine and feminine energies inside of yourself. In this video, we're laying the foundation for my whole series on toxic and healthy masculine and feminine energy. We'll explore what these energies actually mean, archetypically, psychologically, and through astrology, and why integration is the key to becoming your most authentic self. So, defining masculine and feminine. First, let's clear up a myth. Masculine and feminine energy is not about gender. Like, most people are going to fall off there. It's ridiculous, and that's fine. These are universal forces that everyone carries. Masculine energy is about structure, direction, action, and boundaries. Think Saturn or extroverted thinking and the architect side of the INTJ. Feminine energy is about receptivity, creativity, intuition, and flow. Think Venus, introverted feeling, and the childlike openness that Aquarians sometimes hide. And I'm gonna actually change this. Think Neptune. It's more Neptune for Aquarians. And the childlike openness that Aquarian sometimes hides. When both energies are expressed in a balanced way, we get wholeness. When they're suppressed or distorted, we get toxicity. All right, I'm going to take a drink. I've got a heater blowing on me, space heater. It's parching my vocal cords. All right, so toxic versus healthy contrast. So what does this look like in real life? Toxic masculinity shows up as domination, rigid control, or shutting down emotions. Toxic femininity shows up as manipulation, victimhood, or passive aggression. On the other hand, healthy masculinity sets clear boundaries, acts with integrity, and protects without controlling. Healthy femininity expresses emotions authentically, nurtures with compassion, and receives without dependency. Toxic is always about extremes. Healthy is about integration. As an Aquarian or INTJ, this balance is especially important. You tend to lean into masculine logic and independence. introverted intuition, and extroverted thinking, vision, and structure. But when you reject your feminine side, your introverted feeling child and extroverted sensing, grounding functions, you risk slipping into toxic patterns, which are cold detachment, rigid systems, or victimhood isolation. Integration means letting both sides of you speak. Your masculine builds the framework. Your feminine fills it with life, color, and connection. Together, they make you not just efficient, but whole. When you integrate your inner masculine and feminine, you stop living in extremes. Instead of swinging between control and chaos, you embody steady leadership, authentic compassion, and visionary strength. That's the Aquarian or INTJ archetype at its highest expression. So this is just the introduction. In the next video, we'll go planet by planet, function by function, and explore how toxic and healthy energies show up in every corner of your archetype, plus the tools to reset and integrate them. Now, I am curious. I am going to do a little side, what do you call that? Poll, I guess, side poll. I'm curious. Now, as a woman with Aquarian or INTJ energy heavy in my Mercury in the 11th house, so that's my thinking and communication. Heavy, heavy, heavy. I'm extremely masculine, and that's not only because of my Aquarian, but, you know, there's a lot of other things going on in there, but Aries, or ESTP. But I am curious for those watching, if you're a woman or a man, how do you feel? Do you feel more masculine? Because I honestly think it's not common for a certain personality to express in males and females the same. And Aquarians or INTJs are top 4 masculine of the personality types. We have Aries, ESTP, Gemini, ENTJ, and then Aquarians, INTJ. Very, very masculine personality overall. And I would say that those 3 express men and women pretty masculine, but then it tapers off from there. Like ISTPs or Sagittariuses are pretty masculine in a different way. I'm just really curious as a side poll, if you could like write into the comments if you're a man or a woman and if you feel more masculine or feminine. I'm just totally curious, but I'm going to assume that you are feeling and act more masculine. So this series is amazing. I am so excited. It blows my mind, and hopefully your mind is blown. All right, so the 4 expressions of masculine and feminine energy. Number 1, healthy masculinity, core energy, structure, direction, protection, and responsibility. Provides safety without control. Healthy masculinity sets and honors boundaries, leads with vision and integrity, balances discipline with adaptability. Courage equals authenticity, not domination. Example, a leader who sets clear goals but also listens, adapts, and mentors with respect. Number 2, toxic masculinity. I need to adjust. My cat's meowing. My cat's been totally fed multiple times. Like, he's been absolutely spoiled tonight. All right, so number 2, toxic masculinity. I might erase this up, actually. All right, there we go. I need to sit with my back more straight. All right, so toxic masculinity, core distortion, rigidity, control, and suppression. Equates power with dominance or violence, suppresses vulnerability, real men don't cry, polices others with shame, mockery, or fear, values conquest over connection, rejects anything feminine as weak. Example, a partner who refuses to admit mistakes, shuts down emotional conversations, and uses intimidation to win. I'm really wanting to side tangent so bad right now, but I'm not going to. That's from my other channel. I'm gonna keep it here. Keep it here. Toxic masculinity and toxic femininity, like legitimate triggers everyone. And it's so much easier for me to spot now. And this is so like core, like foundational. All right. So number 3, healthy femininity. Core energy, connection, empathy, receptivity, and creativity. Nurtures without losing self. Healthy femininity values collaboration over competition. Expresses emotions authentically. Balances intuition with grounded action. Receptive to love and help without dependency. Example, a friend who listens deeply, offers compassion, and also honors her own boundaries. Toxic femininity, core distortion, manipulation, passivity, and disempowerment. Uses guilt, seduction, or victimhood to control, over sacrifices, then resents others. Communicates indirectly, passive aggressive. Defines worth through being rescued or desired. Competes by tearing others down. Example, a colleague who avoids confrontation but spreads gossip to undermine others. So I do want to kind of a little side tangent here. Each of us can express toxic masculinity and femininity. I'm trying so hard to hold myself back. Okay, so yeah, I'm not going to go there in this video. All right, so the integration key. I'm so trying hard here. Healthy masculinity and healthy femininity. Wholeness, structure plus flow, courage plus compassion, and vision plus empathy. Toxic masculinity and toxic femininity. Shadow patterns, control and manipulation, domination, and dependency. Everyone, regardless of gender, carries all 4 potentials. The goal is to spot the toxic patterns, heal them, and lean into healthy expressions. Individual integration of masculine and feminine energies. Why integration matters. I'm definitely going to put in a 12-hour day. All right, so every person carries both masculine and feminine energies, regardless of gender. When they're out of balance, life and relationships get lopsided. Over-masculized equals rigid control and emotional unavailability. Over-feminized is passive, dependent, lacking boundaries. Disowned energies show up in shadow form and toxic expressions. Integration means you can act masculine and receive feminine. You can set boundaries, masculine, while staying open, feminine. You can lead with logic, masculine, and intuition, feminine. You can protect, masculine, while nurturing, feminine. Without integration, you'll unconsciously expect your partner to complete you rather than complement you. The inner work of integration. Masculine integration. Learn to set healthy boundaries without control. Cultivate structure, responsibility, and action. Define strength as authenticity, not dominance. Feminine integration. Learn to express emotions without manipulation. Cultivate openness, receptivity, and trust. Value intuition and empathy alongside reason. The key, you don't abandon one side to live in the other. You balance both inside yourself so that you're whole. How it plays out with your partner. When you're integrated, you're no longer need your partner to play out your disowned energy. Instead of demanding they be the strong one or be the emotional one, you can share both roles. The relationship becomes 2 complete people choosing partnership rather than 2 half people seeking completion. Example, a man integrated with his feminine energy can cry or express love freely, so his partner doesn't feel burdened to carry all the emotions. A woman integrated with her masculine energy can set boundaries so her partner doesn't have to be the sole protector. When you're not integrated, you protect what you reject in yourself, or you project what you reject in yourself onto your partner. You polarize. One partner is all masculine, the other all feminine. This creates imbalance, control versus dependence, dominance versus manipulation, giver versus taker. Example, if a man rejects his feminine side, he may shame his partner for being too emotional. If a woman rejects her masculine side, she may depend on her partner for direction and then resent him for controlling her. How to understand it with your partner. Notice patterns. Do you always slip into one role? Planner, nurturer, protector, feeler? Reflect. Are you avoiding part of yourself and expecting your partner to hold it? Communicate. Share with your partner what you're learning. I realized I've been leaning too hard into control. I want to practice being more receptive with you. Experiment. Switch roles sometimes. Let your partner lead in planning or let yourself be the emotional rock when they're vulnerable. Key takeaway. Integration first within yourself equals wholeness, confidence, and emotional freedom. Integration and partnership equals balance, equality, and true intimacy. When both partners hold both energies, they stop being trapped in toxic polarity and start co-creating a dynamic where each can lead, nurture, protect, and receive in turn. The Aquarian or INTJ archetype and the 4 expressions of masculine and feminine energies. So now we're going to be breaking down specifically the Aquarian or INTJ archetype and how these the toxic masculine and feminine and the healthy masculine and feminine expresses. I'm so stoked. I wish I could just blow through these 13 videos tonight, but this probably will be my last one for the day. All right, so I'm not really sure if I'm gonna heavily edit these like my other one. I don't know. I enjoy it though, but it's just more time consuming. But I think it's more high quality, so I'll sit on that for a little bit. All right, so number 1, healthy masculinity in the Aquarian or INTJ, how it's expressed. So how it shows up, strategic leadership with an INTE. An Aquarian sees the future clearly and builds efficient systems, protects others by creating intellectual and social structures that fosters fairness, sets firm but rational boundaries without needing to dominate. Courage comes from authenticity, standing in one's truth even if it's unconventional. Example, an Aquarian or INTJ leader who organizes a project with precision, but also makes sure the team feels respected and supported. Number 2, toxic masculinity in the Aquarian or INTJ shadow. How it shows up. Over detachment with fixed air. Intellectualizes emotions and avoids intimacy. Controls through rigid systems with extroverted thinking in Saturn. Imposes strict rules and expects conformity. Believes vulnerability equals weakness, so you're hiding your introverted feeling values until they explode in resentment. Rebellion without responsibility is the Uranian shadow. Resist authority just to feel powerful. Example, an Aquarius or INTJ who refuses to compromise at work because the system I built is perfect, dismissing human needs entirely. Number 3, healthy femininity in the Aquarian or INTJ. How it shows up. Intuitive empathy with introverted feeling. I would say, they psychologically, they say that extroverted feeling is more empathetic and introverted feeling is more sympathetic, but they do cross over. So I don't know, just keep that in mind. So intuitive empathy with FI honors personal values and the emotions of others. Receptivity to new ideas with the air element allows inspiration to flow instead of forcing outcomes. Builds authentic, supportive friendships with the 11 house theme. Blends logical strategy with compassion and creativity, bringing both structure and care. Example, an Aquarian or INTJ mentor who not only designs a roadmap for success, but also checks in on their students' emotional journey. Number 4, toxic femininity and how it shows up in an Aquarian or INTJ. Passive aggressive detachment avoids confrontation but subtly undermines or withholds. Over sacrifice in relationships, giving too much to gain approval, then resenting others. Manipulation through intellect, using wit, aloofness, or cold shoulder as control. Victimhood stance, feeling misunderstood by society as an excuse to isolate. Example, an Aquarian or INTJ who withdraws emotionally plays the victim of nobody understands me, but refuses to communicate their actual needs. The integration for Aquarian or INTJ. Goal, move from detachment and control, the toxic expressions, into vision and authenticity with empathy, the healthy expression. Balance point. Healthy masculinity gives Aquarians or INTJs structure and foresight, with healthy femininity opens them to vulnerability, creativity, and deeper relationships. Wholeness. The archetype becomes a true visionary, blending intellectual mastery with compassion, independence with connection. Toxic masculinity and toxic femininity in romantic relationships. Definitions in relationship context. So, toxic masculinity in men. The distortion of masculine traits into control, dominance, and emotional suppression. In relationships, it shows up as refusing to show vulnerability, equating leadership with control, shutting down emotions or ridiculing partners' feelings, using intimidation, winning arguments, or withdrawal as power plays. Toxic femininity in women, the distortion of feminine traits into manipulation, passive aggression, and dependency. In relationships, it shows up as using guilt, victimhood, or seduction to control partner. And honestly, these can go both ways. Over sacrificing, then resenting partner silently. This to me is toxic. Toxic femininity in men. Like, I can totally flip-flop these. So, all right. So, over sacrificing, then resenting partner silently, avoiding direct communication, expecting partner to just know needs. That's definitely a woman thing. Well, it's also a toxic feminine man too. So, playing helpless to avoid accountability or responsibility. Let's talk weaponized incompetence. I'm just not gonna, not here. Examples in romantic relationships. Toxic masculinity in a male partner. A man refuses to admit when he is hurt and instead responds with anger, criticism, or silence. He insists on making all financial decisions because he knows better. He sees compromise as weakness and instead forces his preferences. Toxic femininity in a female partner. A woman avoids stating her needs directly and instead uses guilt. If you really loved me, you'd just know what I want. She sacrifices her time or desires, then secretly resents her partner and withdraws affection. She uses emotional outbursts, manipulation, or playing helpless to get attention or avoid responsibility. The dynamic they create together. When toxic masculinity and toxic femininity meet, the relationship also often falls into a control manipulation loop. The man controls through dominance, rules, withdrawal, and intimidation. The woman controls through manipulation, guilt, passive aggression, and withholding. Neither partner communicates openly, so resentment builds. The bond becomes about power and ego, not love or partnership. How to change the dynamic. Step 1, awareness and ownership. Both partners must name what's happening without blame. Example, I notice I shut down when I feel vulnerable, and that hurts our connection. Another example, I notice I hint instead of asking directly, and that creates frustration. Shift into healthy expressions. From toxic masculinity to healthy masculinity. Replace control with protective support. Replace withdrawal with honest communication. Replace domination with collaborative leadership. From toxic femininity to healthy femininity. Replace manipulation with authentic emotional expression. Replace passive aggression with direct requests. Replace helplessness with empowered receptivity. Build new habits together. Practice I feel statements instead of accusations. Agree to take timeouts when emotions run high, then return to resolve with honesty. Celebrate vulnerability as strength for both partners. Create a culture of equal power exchange, both give and both receive. The transformed relationship. The man embodies healthy masculinity, protective, grounded, and honest. The woman embodies healthy femininity, nurturing, expressive, and receptive. Together, they create a relationship built on trust, openness, and shared power, not hidden battles for control. So these hidden battles are within ourselves and our own relationship. So key takeaway. Toxic masculinity and toxic femininity feed off of each other in relationships, but awareness and conscious choice can flip the script. By owning their patterns and shifting into healthy expressions, couples can move from power struggles to authentic partnership. Integration worksheet. Yeah, I think I'll throw this integration worksheet in there for free. It deals with spotting your dominant energies, asking yourselves, do I tend to lead with structure, action, and logic with masculinity? Or do I tend to lead with empathy, emotion, and receptivity with femininity? Which feels more comfortable and which feels harder? Step 2, identify shadow patterns. Prompt, when I feel stressed, do I become rigid, control, or withdrawn, toxic masculine? Or do I become manipulative, overly dependent, or passive aggressive, which is toxic feminine? How does this usually affect my relationships? Reclaim the neglected energy. Ask yourself, what part of myself do I resist showing? Vulnerability, openness, receptivity with the feminine, or boundaries, strength, and assertiveness with masculine? How could expressing this energy in a healthy way improve my life? All right, so I'm not going to get too far. I think I'll turn that into a worksheet and have that in the description box for free down below. All right, so key takeaway. The more you integrate your own masculine and feminine energies, the less you project onto your partner. The healthier each of you become individually, the more balanced, supportive, and intimate the relationship grows. So with yourself and with others. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this introduction to the masculine and feminine energy within ourselves and how that plays out in relationships a little bit. I will expand on that in future videos. So this was just the introduction. Video 2, my next video will be about toxic versus healthy masculinity in the Aquarian or INTJ. So I am excited. I hope that you are just as excited as I am. Hopefully you learned some gems, and thank you for your time. Feel free to comment, email. Be sure to like and subscribe, and check out my ebooks on my website. I am definitely going to get all of these on Amazon. I haven't done it yet. I just created a whole nother series, so that will be in the future still. But they're there. I definitely have them as ebooks on my website. I just need to reformat them, which I think I just need to upgrade my Canva to have it formatted for me, I believe. I'm not sure exactly yet. I need to just figure that out. It probably won't take too long, and then I will probably have 20 of them uploaded on Amazon within a day or two. It's just a matter of figuring out the little tweaks of formatting at this point. So anyways, thank you so much for your time, and I hope to see you in the next video. Take care.